Test. Do I have audio? Yes, I have the audio. Cool. What a weekend. Hope everyone had a good time enjoying Christmas and getting all the shit that they wanted. Everyone get what they wanted. I hope you got what you wanted. I got everything I wanted. Something to drink. That's about it. That's all I needed. Alright. Everything should be in order. Had to take a 3-hour trip to my parents' house, pick up my aunt along the way. And then, you know, we spent some time with family, siblings, and all that. Got to, you know, aunts and uncles. Got to play a new game, board game I got. Wow. Not Super Combine, it's Super Camelot. Super Combine's a different channel. Alright. I think today what I'm going to probably do... I'm just going to try to, I don't know, regain some confidence in the drawing here and like refine the layout and the measurements so that I have a little more confidence maybe when it comes to inking it. And like the bridge and stuff, and I think we're pretty. I like to think we're good to go. I'm just nervous about doing it and fucking it up. Nonetheless, here we are. Alright. From now on, I decide I'm going to, in order to keep up with chat, because some people do show up and speak. Well, one of the things that happened was, as other people have noticed, is that the Onion Nuggets channel I edit for has been deleted. The clip show / new live stream home, at least intended home, was just completely erased. You know, 2.5 years worth of work, almost 3 years worth of work just gone. And so, make sure I got audio coming through my mic. Hey, Dylan. Yeah, the Onion Nuggets channel. That's what it's called. The alternative backup channel is called Deep Fat Fried, which is still up. As far as I know, I'm still working for. And someone left a comment on here, and I made a note to remember to read it. No, where is it? Onion Nuggets banned. There it is. Alright, this is what happens. Alright, so you know what? Since I'll get into it, I'll bring up the story. So the story was... Oh, hey. Who else is here? Gladius 9919. TJ said some mean stuff about Joe Rogan. Yeah, pretty much. I was about to get into that. So two things happened. First, they did a gauntlet about a man named Brett Keane, who's just a fat ass who has nothing better to do but to lay on his mattress and live off SSI and spend his time mass reporting videos. So they did a gauntlet about this Brett Keane guy that got a warning. And then one of the clips I uploaded, which was a Joe Rogan clip with Mel Gibson talking about how drinking hydrochloroform and ivermectin cures cancer, and that he had 3 friends with terminal cancer of like stage 4 cancer or stage 3 cancer that managed to cure it by drinking this textile dye and ivermectin. And they were criticizing him, and they got a strike for cyberbullying and harassment, even though there was no call to action for his death or telling people to go over to his page to harass him. And this thing isn't the first clip of Joe Rogan they've used. So my thought is maybe in combination of that warning and then the Joe Rogan thing, maybe Joe Rogan's team went after all those video clips that they had of him. Let's see what this guy says, though. This is what happens when you mess with Joe Rogan. TJ was silent about him for years and years, even though he's a fascist and a Nazi and a racist and by far the most successful heir to the likes of Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh. I mean, probably because he keeps himself tempered enough and stupid enough where he doesn't give much of an opinion, so it makes him look more impartial than Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh. But he was quiet because he was rather hoping Joe would have him on the show again. I don't know about that. On Heinz, well, he did mention that he was like, oh, well, I thought maybe I could be, but yeah, well, he went on some rants on Joe Rogan. I don't feel like trying to reiterate some of them because it gets complicated then. In hindsight, it was one of his greatest and only highlight of his career. Well, I guess Joe Rogan having TJ on there was the highlight of his career. Yeah, Joe Rogan's career, that is. So only after he completely lost hope Rogan would ever have him back, that's when he started criticizing him. Okay, that's sure. Sure, there wasn't a whole bunch of videos with them making fun of Joe Rogan before then. You know, there wasn't a whole bunch of... I would say there's a bunch of clips, but, you know, those clips are kind of mysteriously gone now. Well, now he knows that YouTube will allow him to go after totally small potatoes like Brett, who's outside of the DFF no one has ever even heard of. But if it's something high in the social ladder like Joe Rogan, then they're in trouble. If only he had campaigned for Kamala Harris instead of explicitly telling people to stay home and not vote at all. No one ever fucking said that. Maybe now they won't be living in a fascist America where there's censorship and you're not allowed to say what you think about losing your livelihood. But they decided that having a woman as a president was just too intolerable. Welcome to fuck out around and find out. Are you fucking for real, man? Alright, well, I gotta forward this comment. I really do. Alright, can I get bring up the whole time? Yes. Perfect. Alright. Gonna sauce the onion nuggets. No one ever said it was intolerable for a woman to be president. It was intolerable for her, specifically, as a person and her history, to be president. And they also never said to stay home and not vote. No one ever fucking said that. It's I like how they act like they're the arbiter. They have such power and influence to to sway an election of the United States. You know, a channel that had 14,000 subs and a Patreon with 7,000 members somehow sways the 300 million plus Americans not to vote and allowing Trump to win. Yeah, no one said don't vote, though functionally you might as well not have. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. I love how that argument keeps coming up. I'm just gonna save that, screenshot that shit. You really think their endorsement? Let's see, there's some pretty good responses here, I think. Let's see. Come on, take the picture. Alright, I'm gonna post this in the Discord. Maybe I can make it content. Bear with me here. Oh my god, not on my iPhone, on my iCloud. See, because he told everyone to. Not vote and stay home. Okay. There we go. Just saying, like, if you keep voting blue no matter who, eventually you're just going to get shittier and shittier Democrats to the point where, like the next one's just going to be, like, fucking more Trump. Like, what happened with Kamala? We'll talk about her before I get into the AI shit I had planned here. She said she's going to be tougher on the border. She's going to be, she's going to fund the police, basically. Something along those lines. No, she was against the Palestinian protest during one of her rallies. People were saying "Free Palestine," and her response to that was, "Keep saying that if you want Trump to win." It's like, okay. So she leaned right on that. She never mentioned trans people. She never even mentioned gay people or queer people at any point, despite what all the ad campaigns said. Nothing. She probably would have quietly rolled back some protections, maybe. But just like when, Joe Biden rolled back the trans people being allowed back in the military, that wasn't like some big event. That was just him just rolling back some of the policies that Trump did. Oh, wait, what am I using this for? I'm gonna get covered up by the watercolor. Stupid me. Alright. Let me get my reference out here. I want to fix this awning a little bit. Not liking how it's angled. I feel like it's off. I'm just going to erase it entirely here. For the most part. Alright. Get my pencil out here. So yeah, there's like nothing there. And so eventually the spark fizzled out for her campaign quickly. And they just predicted it. They predicted this would happen. They predicted her numbers would go down because she was kind of just shoehorned in there because Biden, who said he was supposed to be a one-term president, all of a sudden was going to try to run again. And when it became just completely undeniable that he wasn't a viable candidate, that he had no fucking brain left during that debate, like they could not spin it enough to defend him. They're just like, nope, finally we're just going to we're gonna drop him and just throw in Kamala. Yep, throw in a woman who put parents in jail for truancy, and who says they're gonna be tougher on the border, tougher on crime and tougher on cracking out on Palestinian and support Israel in their genocide because that's what America wants. Let's get one thing out of the way too. When it comes to Israel, America controls Israel, right? No matter what anyone says, there might be some agents that have like blackmail and shit on politicians, because that's how they fucking operate. Because America has no friends, they have only interests. Well, nation states in general only have interest. I get it, but ultimately, everything Israel's doing is under America's approval. I know it's harder to accept the bigger superpower having more control than this little island of a foothold in the Middle East, but that's it. But that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way too. I can't believe. Yeah, I gotta read these responses though. All right, before we get off into the other topic here. Yeah, you really think endorsement would have swayed the election? Trump pretty much won in a landslide. He even won the popular vote by millions of votes, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, because if you're a Palestinian or a Muslim, can you imagine the position you're in? It just feels like a fucking catch-22. You're a lose-lose. You might as well just check out. If you think the DFF guys endorsing Kamala would have had any change the outcome of the election, I have some beachfront property in Nevada to sell you. Alright. So this AI bullshit here. So I was looking up ways to like publish a book, right? Because I'm working on a all ages book right now. And first video that comes up is about this fucking program you can pay for to get a bunch of credits to generate the books for you. and let the algorithm decide what is popular that you should work on. Damn it! I need to grab my ruler here real quick. My bag. All right. All right. What are you putting in the chat? What'd you send? Let's see. Oh my God, let me click on the link. What are you putting in the chat? What'd you send? Instagram. Oh my God, babe, it's the exact one I wanted. $4.17 you got there actually going to Israel. Then you certainly got my support. Instagram. Cute. Kind of reminds me of Postal, too. But anyway, so let's get this shit out of the way here. So yeah, we have this dystopian little program. Let the algorithm decide what's popular. Just write the prompt, the theme of the book, the page count, the project type, the illustration types you want to see, whether they're hopeful or cute or scary, and just start paying credits to generate the book and the words for you, and like what the story's going to be about and how it plays out. Now, admittedly, in this particular video, they talk about how it's like a foundation for a kid's book or whatever. And it's like, I mean, if the foundation's there already, and I'm seeing how long the process takes, like, that doesn't take that long to come up with just like a basic outline for any like kid's book, really. Like an idea. And really, if you need a computer to figure out, like a random generator to figure out what your story is going to be about, like, I wonder if you're even passionate in what you're doing to begin with. And so we have this, yeah, and like all the art that they generate, you tell what character types to generate too, and then it all looks the same, like very, very digital airbrush look to it. No sense of style or personality when it comes to like blending in with everything else that's out there. All right, let's have this go over here. It sucks for storytelling. You have to outline or it's slop. Yeah. And even like using the AI for an outline, like, I guess, but like, I don't know, I just feel like I could come up with an outline on my own already at this point. Let's see here. Where's the vanishing point's gonna be here. At least that's how we're doing it here. So, well, also, it's higher up. It's gonna be going off the page, basically. I just feel like this should be angled better, that's all. And I also want to kind of refine the line so that when it comes to inking it, I can do it better. Let's get the basic shape here. because it's so close to the subjects, you can't really get much of a vanishing point sense in there. That's supposed to be... yeah. More like that. And it's gonna guesstimate here for that last one. Feel like we're going way too far off here already. Yeah, because I feel like I'm putting something there that's not there. Alright, let's just put this... Alright. Let's try and get a feel for it here. Yeah, so, you know, generate the story, tell what lessons to play, and then you have to go through each page, right, and correct every little error it makes in terms of spelling. What else? Oh yeah, the images themselves, like mismatching the characters and how they look. And he's going through all this process just so you can generate some, like, borderline garbage children's book. I guess just hope for the best when it comes to selling it. Because, like, you know, it's great that we live in this era where you can do print on demand, where you don't have to do like a minimum order. Because there's one guy I used to watch called, well, I'm not going to say his name anymore because he sucks. But there's one guy I used to watch. He's making a children's book, and he had to invest $35,000 just for the printing of it. He illustrated it and wrote it himself. And it was $35,000, roughly speaking, to have it printed. Because, you know, a lot of these companies, these public printing companies, they want you to do a minimum order, and you're required to. And so this is the huge risk that you take, right? You, as a self-publisher especially, you print all these books out, and now you have to try to sell them and hope for the best. You know, hopefully the market's there. Let's make that shorter. And then once you, if everything works out, then you can make profit. And that does sound a little bit like a nightmare to me. It's like, hey, honey, I spent 35 grand getting my book printed. I don't know if anyone's gonna buy it. But that's the risk that you took. And I guess in this sense, that risk is gone. Because, hey, if no one buys it, well, you know, you're out a couple $100 maybe, paying the generator to make some bullshit for you. And now you just move on to the next idea. You know, keep spewing out the ideas until eventually, maybe you'll hit gold. And you'll sell a couple copies. You know, children's book can cost like $40. You know, sell like 3 of them, or swindle some friends of yours to sell to buy them. And you made your money back that month. For that month. I don't know. Just looking at the ideas that they posted, it just like looks so garbage. Like, who's buying this shit really? Like, who is seriously buying children's books that look like what they do? Like the one about Elon Musk, for example. The one about, I think they have one about Mark Zuckerberg. I know they have one about Trump. That's a given, right? Just type in, you know, I want a princess story. I want a story about knights fighting a dragon. $30. Someone buys the book, you just do print on demand. Like, we bought a electrician's book, right? It wasn't like an educational book. It was just meant for like do it yourself home projects, simple stuff like that. And we got it in the mail, and it's full of these obviously AI generated images. Like there was a guy missing his head because his torso was just lodged into the ceiling. That's what one of the characters looked like. This is how haphazardly it was put together. And so we asked Amazon for a refund because, like, there's no way we're going to fucking use this. Even if the information's sound, the images don't give us any much confidence in whether or not the advice it's giving is correct in any way. You know, for all we know, it could just get us killed. And Amazon just issued the refund without us having to return the book. Like, they just gave our money back and called it a day. So it's like, who's the seller on this book then? Like, what kind of loss are they taking if someone buys their shit and returns it? Do they lose that money? You know, is Amazon just making a bunch of money off of people paying for the storefront rights on a monthly basis? I'm sure it costs money to list stuff on Amazon for your own store. It's like, who the hell is buying this shit? Is anyone? And, you know, it's just like the whole dead internet theory, right? It's a bunch of fucking bots out there buying books. Like, people will bot their book into the charts, the bestsellers chart, by buying their own book in bulk. Not even calling in to publishers, just to take the loss, buy it in bulk to make it look popular, so that people actually buy it, and then you make your profit that way. And then a bunch of people all of a sudden interested in it. You fake the interest. And it's just, I don't know. To me, that just seems kind of pathetic and sad. I guess that's part of the marketing strategy now, though, right? You gotta spend money to make money. You gotta spend all this fucking money that most people aren't going to have access to. Or if you take the risk and it doesn't work out, then like what? You just go bankrupt? Like, if I took my comic right now and I wanted to sell it, well, I do sell it on Etsy. If I want to like try to put it out in stores, I don't even know where to start with that right now. Actually, I'll probably have to look up how to get your comic in bookstores. But yeah, how much do I have to print? And like, what, am I going to convince them to buy a bunch of issues? Is that how it's going to work? And they have to do it by discount. So then what? I have to try to logistically figure out if one shop buys a bulk order. I have to throw a bunch of money that I don't have at the moment to print a whole bunch of other books. Hopefully I can get more sales to the point where it makes a profit. Because who knows, people are going to buy it when they see it on the shelf, right? Especially with no marketing. Yeah, that's the other thing, marketing. Who's marketing the book? How much is it going to cost to get ads in places? Like, I just spent $30 to get my ad on a website this month. Oh, probably just out that money. Just doing it for the hopes of getting some, I guess. Yeah, it looks like this is just like a railing that's here. And then we have the building coming up here. Yeah, this little awning here. It's way angled up higher than I anticipated. Deceptively angled really high. Can I do it that way? So yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself here. I'm not scared of AI or anything. It's just, you know, it's just so much garbage. So much garbage out there. And it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with all... What the fuck are people going to do with all that? And so, yeah, again, I just wondered, like, who's buying it? Is anyone buying it? And if not, is there any kind of, like, significant loss these people are taking? And if a company has a bunch of money to just throw away, and they're able to just write off as a loss, because they're, like, some front, or money laundering scheme, or a shell company of some sort, then what? They just keep turning out failed book after failed book? And then, you know, using that as, like, their tax write-offs? I almost think that might be the fucking goal for some of these wannabe companies, or fake companies. It just seems completely unreal. And oh yeah, let's not forget the companies that are using these generators. They're paying for their data centers. Are they making a profit? Is there enough people, you know, paying for the credits to use their services? Are they making a profit? You know, with this stigma that this shit already has, because there's already like a look when it comes to AI bullshit. I mostly do ebooks, but I've never been charged for putting out a physical one. Okay. I was just curious about that, if they have a fee. Like, Etsy does like a 20-cent fee to list an item on a store for like 6 months or something like that. Or 3 months. I mean, it's a long period, but yeah, you're still paying it to list stuff. And Etsy's full of AI bullshit. Generative random bullshit. Like, one of the things it recommended me was, like, turn your portrait into a comic book superhero comic. And it had a guy carrying his daughter on his shoulders. She was wearing like a superhero outfit, and she had 3 hands, two covering her dad's face, and one covering her dad's face, and then 2 in the air cheering. Like, that's the product that they're selling. It's ridiculous. This goes up a little higher. Go down a little bit. I'm not sure. I imagine not everyone selling books on Amazon too can just be like, well, okay, one person bought the book, so he's going to print up the one book and send it out. And like the fact that Amazon was willing to just take that one book we bought and just refund it without having us return it. I mean, I know a lot of these have been getting pulled, and they probably can't keep up with how many shady books are being posted on their storefront. Because yeah, it kind of taints the market, and eventually no one's just going to bother with it. And then I like to picture the idea that upstarts are going to come up, like little upstart websites, again, like back in the olden days of the internet, in response, and be like, hey, you know, these big corporate chains are full of a bunch of bullshit books, but our books are real. Now, there's no randomly generated images here, and even if we use any of the generative tools, you're not going to fucking tell, because it's going to be a competently made book. Whatever subject it may be, even if it's fiction. Let's put it right there. All right. Let's get the windows in here. Let's get this awning here too. Let's say we just measure this one out. Every quarter inch. Every quarter inch, measure this little awning. I'm gonna keep it out of my mind too, like, you know, this is an architecture class. So what else is there? And you got tools that I use for video editing, for instance, that are just labeled AI now, arbitrarily. I used to, like, for instance, I used to drop down a menu that would say create subtitles from audio. Now it says AI tools create subtitles from audio. Like, it's not real AI, and that's always been the problem. Saying something is AI when it's not. It's just, you know, it's just an auto generation tool. It's just there to help figure something out or speed up a process. It's an algorithm. It's not thinking for itself. The point is, that is the point. It's not thinking for itself. Yeah, it's not a fucking servitor from Warhammer where I can tell it to do something and it's gonna, like, figure out how to best do it, do a task. It's like, for instance, they asked it to solve some math equations, and it gets all the math equations wrong. They tell it to recreate the image of the rock without changes, and it can't help itself but make changes to the point where eventually it turns into a blob of what used to be a human being. That's all it is, just little bits of guesswork here and there that it's doing. Alright, so we have these windows. We have the window sill first. Yeah, this has been my problem with trying to get this linked out because it wasn't laid out in the way I liked. Alright, let's measure these out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do every ½ inch. Nope, that won't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's do an extra one. Or make one taller than the others. Alright. Let's also figure out. Let's see. Yeah, okay, kind of lines up. No, not really. Let's see. Gotta figure this out. Yeah, since this window's a little bit bigger. Watching this, I'm thinking I'm overthinking it. Oh, what else is there really to say about AI at this point? It hasn't already been said 1,000 times. Oh, that Shadiversity controversy is pretty funny. So there's this guy named Jazza. He's an Australian. He has a older brother called Shadiversity. And, you know, for a while, Jazza was kind of like on the fence when it came to generating images with algorithms. And recently came out a video that just calls AI slop and AI images slop, and he uses this image of Princess Mononoke. He uses the film image and compares it to a algorithm generated image, and he calls it Gooner bait. And that image that was generated was one his older brother made. And so it's not even a controversy for Jazza. It's something that's causing butthurt for Shadiversity. This Shadiversity guy who hates trans people, hates gay people. He doesn't want them to have equal rights. Feels like they don't deserve it, I guess. He doesn't. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He just does not see me as a human. Or at least a human deserving of equal footing in terms of trying to make a life for myself. And Shadiversity is just confused that his younger brother doesn't want anything to do with him professionally. And he goes on a tirade on Twitter. Because keep in mind, Jazza did not say any of this publicly. He just he was keeping this all private until Shadiversity decided to go on Twitter and bitch and moan about it, talking about how, you know, it's really sad when a family member says they don't want anything to do with you professionally, that they expect to somehow also be able to talk to you in private and come in family gatherings with you in private, even though they stated they don't want anything to do with you professionally or any kind of public manner outside of family private gatherings. And it's like, I would never do that to my family. It's like, yeah, of course you wouldn't do that, because when it comes to the end of the day, Jazza believes in, you know, equal rights and protections for other human beings that are different from the status quo, and you don't believe in those things. You believe in you don't even keep yourself out of it. You insist on imposing your own opinion, where it's, you don't want equality, you don't want equal rights for these people, you want them to suffer and die. So yeah, I wonder why it's easier for you, Shadiversity, to not cut off someone because of their politics versus anyone else cutting you off. Because you want people to fucking die. You won't say it out loud, but let's kill this fucking music here. But that's ultimately what it leads to. Yeah, it's just a glorified autocorrect. Yeah, pretty much. Oop. Get this recording here. I like to record my process because it makes for good background commentary. So I'm trying to maybe lean on towards doing less speed paint videos and just doing like progress videos sort of thing when I do a commentary in the future. So it's not just a bunch of you know, hand images flying through the screen. All right, let's measure out these windows consistently here, because after this awning one, it kind of gets a little different. All right, so, and they're pretty much going to be the same level when it comes up here. So let's just do it that way. Let's try it that way and see how it turns out. So yeah, poor Shadiversity. And so he says all this shit on Twitter. Jazza responds because it's obvious it's about him, because everyone knows that he's the older brother to this much more successful and ethical artist at this point, really. Now, in terms of him using AI or not, just also in terms of social ethics. And so, yeah, he's all butthurt about being cut off professionally. He's always complaining about his YouTube channel being thwarted or shadow banned. when it is just like maybe you should stop complaining about it so much, and I don't know, come up with some more original videos. Maybe go back to reviewing weapons like he used to do. He used to do what medieval weapon reviews, and then all of a sudden he decided he's going to go into the culture war scene and grift that. It's like you're fucking hilarious. You're hysterical, Shadiversity. I would love to interview Shadiversity just so I could talk about Jazza. I'd be like, so how's Jazza doing? So what projects is Jazza coming up with right now? So when you were growing up with Jazza, wouldn't matter what he said, even if he's just like, can we just drop that topic and like talk about what I'm doing? I'd be like, oh, so how's Jazza? Well, what's Jazza's doing? You know, don't even fucking just act like he said nothing. That would be my dream scene right now with that guy. But yeah, it's amusing to me like the idea like why would you want to do anything with me professionally? This whole notion like it's so easy. How dare you cut me off for politics? It's like okay, well, what are your politics that someone would cut you off? Because you know what, I never thought about it that way until I like heard it today too. It's just like yeah, you know what, that is kind of a good point. Like someone like me or Jazza wants equal rights for and to protect for legal protections for trans people and queer people in general. And you say that, right? And who's really gonna cut you off if you believe in that? Only an asshole would, right? It probably wouldn't even, yeah, it wouldn't even sound good. Bringing up with family. So why can't you get along with your younger brother Jazza? Oh well, you know he's talking about all this lib cuck woke shit. He thinks trans people should be allowed to use the bathroom, and you know I just think that all trans healthcare should be banned, and it should be labeled a mental illness requiring treatment in insane asylums. And all because I think that Jazza doesn't want anything to do with me professionally. He says I promote like hatred or bigotry. I don't hate anyone. I love everyone. I want everyone to be happy and successful like me. Shadiversity with my fantasy novel where a guy rapes a bunch of people and then you know gets redemption because he feels sorry, he feels bad about what he did, or however that fucking book plays out. He wrote a Shadiversity wrote a book. That was I just gave you the plot, some of the plot. Guy who rapes and murders a bunch of people seeks redemption. And oh yeah, and there's a scene in the book too where a bunch of people who got raped were ultimately fine with it because they got a child. They got a child out of it, and so therefore, you know, despite their trauma that he caused, they're happy now because they're able to bring another life into the world. That's the main plot point I know about that book that he wrote. I don't remember the name of it. All you have to do is type in Shadiversity book, it'll come up. I'm sure there's plenty of people ragging on it in an official capacity with editing and all that stuff. Yeah, it does change the angle. Okay, if it goes down, that's weird. Just throws me off a little bit trying to make this. I'm kind of guessing the like perspective and the angles for it, mainly because like the perspective line would be going way off the page, and you know, as I've been learning with some of the books I've been reading on perspective, actual books, depending on like the comics, you know, depending on the scene. In my case, comics, and you know, illustration commission work here. Yeah, this isn't meant to be a technical piece. It's also, you don't want it so far off that people are wondering what the hell they're looking at. Or why does this building have legs or whatever the hell. But you also, want to make something that looks consistent, looks accurate, feels accurate. More bush here. And right now I'm just figuring out where all the shadows are going to be, because this is supposed to be at night. And fireworks are going off. I imagine a lot of the fireworks are going to be reflective on these windows here. Yeah, solidify those lines a little bit. Alright, let's get these windows in here. 3. 1, 2. So glad in the end of the day I don't have any of that shit tainting my fucking history. I have a Trigglypuff piece I did. Probably said some things I don't even believe in anymore in that video under Crafty Arts called the Trigglypuff episode. But you live and you learn. And unlike some of these other people, I don't double down and pretend I believe in something I don't. I mean, I guess you can get a lot of money that way. Or some money that way. Some clicks on the internet. But, I don't know, man. Like the cost of what? Like, eventually that shit goes downhill, right? Eventually the audience grows tired. I'm just thinking of certain people who, like, were dog whistling their way to the fucking fame and fortune that just kind of fell away and went away and disappeared. It's like, what reputation do you build from that? Can you even get away from it? Granted, there's some people out there that at least make the effort to debunk their own shit that they used to believe in. Yeah, it doesn't angle that way. It literally angles this way. There we go. Fix these lines here. Where's my live chat? Sure, a toxic waste monster would never want to avoid contact with a human. Humans may differ in opinion. Wait, what? Yeah, I have that one Jigglypuff episode. I'm trying to think of any other ones. I have a Muhammad episode, but I'm all for drawing that Muhammad. So I don't say anything about like banning Islam or some stupid shit like that. Ultimately, I am kind of like anti-theist, and all religion should just be abolished eventually. just go in the waste bin of history. All these social ills justified by a belief in a sky daddy. And it kills me too because like how many of these Christians would just be like all for these rules that go in line with the Sharia law they pretend to be scared of. You know, women not being allowed to divorce, and gay people being executed. I mean, that's all shit that they believe in, ultimately. You think they make the Islamic extremists that they pretend to hate? You think they make actual allies? But you know, I don't want to give them any ideas. The wrong kind of hatred. Bigotry is okay as long as you have the right kind of bigotry. Going to these people. All right. I think that lines up pretty good here. Yeah, now I feel like I can actually ink this with confidence. Or the rest of this, I should say, with confidence. I'm going to fix up these bridge areas here. There's like several bridges in this image. Yeah, I can see 3 of them in here. So it's like so far back. There's one there. You can like just see the side of it before it goes black. And it's just like one big black line. And then, yeah, another awning in the background there. Fill that in. And lift that area up. Pretty much cuts off most of the bridge. You'd see. Yeah, just have to put some of this in the details here. That's all in the back. That's all hidden. Let's see, this area is going to be lit up. This area is just going to be all black. Same thing with here, the shadows and the water. We got some bushes here. I feel like that's going to be all black around this area, except for like the outline of the bush. There's the water. And there's one of the pillars. And then there's another pillar here, smaller one. Yeah, there's like another bridge right there. Some vague hints of one over here. Keep that detail lax. In fact, it'd probably just get blacked out, really. No, it wouldn't, because the fireworks are going off. So, yeah, some simple land details there, because it looks like some of it's just covered in fog. All right, and a little awning here. There we go. Yeah, now I can definitely confidently ink this. All right, but that's pretty much all I got to talk about right now. All right, hopefully things will work out, and can find time to work on this tomorrow. Got 2 days right before New Year's Eve. Day is fucking New Year's Eve. I fell for the facts don't care about your feelings crowd, and I realized that I actually am easily swayed by people's feelings, whether the facts are or not. Uh, yeah, don't worry. We had our moments. Like I had one. My moment was buying into the idea that of the trans trender. This is back in like 2015 shit. There used to be some other YouTubers, queer YouTubers that don't exist anymore, or they stopped posting, I should say. Yeah, I love the notion of like you're not posting online, you might as well just not exist. Anyways, yeah, some queer YouTubers talking about how they care about gay issues, but this trans shit's out of control. And again, this is 10 years ago. And they're talking about people who are like not transition but say they're trans when they're not, or they're not going all the way, they're not going hard enough, they're not doing the surgery or what's expected or required, or like people doing it just for like attention and the notoriety or for their career. Like they're just going to go trans and act gay for their career in like Hollywood or whatever, as if just doors open simply because you're gay or trans in the fucking world in terms of entertainment industry or any other field, I guess. And the fact, and again, this is like marketing, right? So like, and the fact remains that it's much harder in a lot of fields when you come out as queer in some way. You know, you don't have as much support. You have family members that drop off, that feel alienated by you or your existence, or they can compartmentalize the experience they have with just you and no one else they know. They're fine with you being gay or trans, but everyone else that's gay and trans, they're the devil. Yeah, if something bad happens to you, it's not because you're trans, it's because something you did wrong. Even if it's fucking hate crime. Yeah, it's blatant. And that's how some people are. You know, the idea that you pretend to be queer for fucking attention or and it's like what environment exists? And like I guess I was buying into it because I was I'm out of grade school for like over 10 years now at this point, and that around that time. I'm out of college. I was out of college since 2010 when I finally got my fucking useless degree and got out. Thankfully, with no student loans because mommy and daddy paid for the community college. Community college doesn't cost that much. Compared to other universities, I should say. I know it's getting higher now. And so you don't know what's going on in the greater world for the most part because you go to your job. You go to like the grocery store or a movie theater, and you're not interacting with a bunch of strangers there, right? You're either going with your friends or you're by yourself. You might go to some parties, again with your inner circle of friends you've known for years, or people your own age who might have similar experiences or positions you have. And so yeah, I was under the impression that I guess maybe there's some people out there just like faking it, and it's just like, well, that's not fucking true at all. Thankfully, I didn't have any knee-jerk reaction to make a video on it, and that's kind of what happens too. There's some article or some talking head who's some millionaire being paid by billionaires to spread some fucking narrative, like the whole trans and bathroom thing. Because, there wasn't a bunch of trans people advocating to use the bathroom until conservatives decided it was a problem that they were using the bathroom. All of a sudden, oh, this is a right we have to fight for. And yeah, then the trans activists and queer activists come out to defend themselves. Wow, big surprise. And then, they turn around and spin it and say that they're trying to push some agenda. Destroy the family unit. I see it all the time. I see it from people I knew and grew up with posting this fucking meme of like a Norman Rockwell painting of the traditional family hanging out in a barbecue with the caption saying, "This is what it means. This is what you're fighting for, or this was what makes you a right-wing extremist." And it's like, what law or policy is preventing you from trying to live that life? In fact, the person I'm referring to is living that life. He has a wife and 2 kids. So who's stopping him? You know, what's stopping him? What's preventing him from continuing? You know, what tried to stop him? Was it nothing? Was it nothing? You know, let's get fucking real here. And they always use advertising to promote their myth, shit that never existed. The family unit that they bitch about, like in one form or another, it didn't really exist in those times. It was just all marketing and advertisement. And like nothing's stopping it from happening now. They have siblings that are married, and one of them has kids. As far as I'm concerned, you know, they're basically still like, yeah, they're not politicizing their, I don't know, lifestyle choices, I guess, in their case. You know, but you know, having the traditional family, it's there, they're doing it, and they're Christian. You know, no one, no law enforcement came to their fucking wedding and try to stop it, or you know, they never got denied a position because they're straight and white. So, you know, point to the fucking law. Because like when it comes to the actual like laws and policies, there's plenty of policies and laws you can point to that were specifically designed to put in place that knowing it would affect black people. You just gotta look up. Oh boy, I should remember his name. He was assistant to Reagan. Let me just type it in. I can't say the words. There's a Southern, yeah, Lee Atwater, the Southern Strategy. Yeah, let me just read the whole thing. Y'all don't quote me on this. You start out in 1954 by saying neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. Except he wasn't saying neighbor. It was N-word. By 1968, you can't say neighbor. But that hurts you. It backfires. So you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and all that stuff. You're getting so abstract now that you're talking about cutting taxes, and all those things you're talking about are totally economic things. And a byproduct of them is that blacks get hurt worse than whites. And subconsciously, maybe that is part of it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if it is getting that abstract and that coded, what we are doing away with, that we are doing away with the racial problem one way or the other. That we are doing away with the racial problem one way or the other. You follow me? Because obviously, sitting around saying, we want to cut this, is much more abstract than even the busing thing. And a hell of a lot more abstract than neighbor, neighbor. So anyway, you look at it, race is coming on the back burner. 1980s, baby. Southern Strategy, 1981. Anonymous interview to political scientist Alexander P. Lamas. Part of the interview was printed in his Lamas book, The Two-Party South. Later reprinted Southern Politics in the 1990s with Atwater's name revealed. Oh, sounds like a book I need to pick up. I'm very curious here. Atwater. But Reagan did not have to do a Southern strategy for two reasons. Number one, race was not a dominant issue. And number two, the mainstream issues in this campaign had been, quote, Southern issues since way back in the 60s. So Reagan goes out on campaigns on the issues of economics and of national defense. The whole campaign was devoid of any kind of racism, any kind of reference. And I'll tell you another thing you all need to think about that even surprised me is the lack of interest, really, the lack of knowledge right now in the South among white voters about the Voting Rights Act. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah, and a lot of that was in reaction to the civil rights movement, because there's a lot of benefits most Americans got when the New Deal happened. Black people were cut out of it. That was one of the reasons it was able to pass. And when black people finally had enough and rioted and protested to be included in those benefits, finally, the reaction to it was to slowly but surely chip away at them all. Reagan started with welfare. Clinton finished it, bringing menial jobs, factory jobs overseas. Once again, mostly affects poor whites and poor black people, because a lot of black people were barred from higher education. See, there's the strategy. This is how you prioritize, and you just make the poor whites the sacrificial lambs in your policies. And when they complain, you say, well, it's because we gave all these benefits to black people and immigrants. They're the ones that took away all your benefits. There's no benefits to give you anymore because they have it all. And yeah, depending on the marketing, some people were interviewed by Channel 5 on YouTube here, Channel 5 at YouTube. There's a woman that's interviewed saying that, yeah, the reason why she can't get any more food stamps is because immigrants took them all. And that's what she believed. She wasn't told by the office that, but she believes that, yeah, the reason why I can't get any more food stamps is because they gave them all the way to the immigrants and they ran out. That's not how that fucking works. But hey, she's raising a bunch of kids and she's probably working her ass off, so she doesn't have any time to fucking look into that. So yeah, you're easily taken advantage of. You can run with that narrative, because hey, politics for a lot of people is just 30-second quips and clips and TikToks. And you have to make it a fucking hobby to keep up with it and understand it. And I'm no political wonk either. I'm just some fucking artist that reads shit. Well, enough about that. I am out of here. I gotta go mess with some, I don't know, convention footage for the Weird Source channel. I'm gonna work on some scripts for this channel for some future videos. That's one thing. That's the last thing I want to talk about. You know what? I got some big plans for this channel and the Weird Source channel and pause off. But I'm really, really having to try, to play the long game here. That is, make a bunch of videos, have like a back catalog. I'm going to upload them for members on this channel and the Weird Source channel as they get made. And then when they're done, I'm going to unleash them, but who knows how long that might take. Might take a year, might take 2 years. But the idea is to have a bunch of videos back cataloged so I can start posting consistently here. And stuff that takes more effort, takes more time. It's also timeless, so it doesn't matter if I release it a week from now or a year from now. It'll still be relevant in terms of its ideas and themes. And that's how I feel about the one I recently did, about the Black Mirror version of myself. And so that's how it's going to stand. Like, I'm really tempted to release it, knowing that my Play Dogs one is going to take a bit of time. But I know, ideally, what do I do, spit on this? Ideally, I just need to have patience. Like the Guns N' Roses song. Gotta have patience. Alright, but I'm out of here now. I'm going to switch gears and work on some other projects and go to bed. Till tomorrow.